Hey there, my name is Zach Pleat, and I'm here to talk to you about Barnett Tuners. Like many guitar players, I had heard rumblings about these Barnett Tuners long before I got to try them out. But pretty much from the day I got this guitar, I knew I would one day need new tuners, and that day happened. So instead of being kind of upset that the tuners were no longer working and I needed to buy a new set of tuners, I was also really excited about the opportunity to finally give these Barnett tuners a go. So I placed an order, and ever since receiving them, I've just been blown away by these tuners. Talk a little bit about how tuners work. The main job of a tuner is to bring the string up to pitch and stabilize it. And this is actually one of the first moments where we can kind of differentiate between, let's say, entry-level tuners and high-end tuners. We've all had tuning experiences where we're tuning up a string and it jumps up radically 3 pitches or down 2, and getting that string up to pitch and stabilizing it, it is a whole adventure and not one that I particularly enjoy. This is where the Barnett tuners really start to distinguish themselves from other tuners. Why? Because it's just smooth sailing. Every single time I've changed my strings since putting on the Barnett tuners, it's just smooth. There's no radical jumps up or down in pitch. It just goes and brings that string up to that stable pitch, and it just sits there. It doesn't radically dip down. Like any new string, it's going to kind of lower and you'll have to bring it up a little bit. But we're talking like a half tone, or it just sounds out of tune versus kind of radically lowering and needing to bring it back up. So what's the difference between the $50 set of tuners we've all seen in music stores and these high-end Barnett tuners? Well, it comes down to 3 things: materials, engineering, and precision. Materials. It's that age-old question. Where do the things come from? With those $50 tuners, you don't know where the things are coming from. You don't know where they're sourcing their materials. And you don't even, well, you even assume it's not the highest end quality stuff if it's only 50 bucks. This is the complete opposite to the Barnett tuners. All the components are individually sourced. They're all high-end materials. And you also have the people making the tuners in charge of that process. This isn't a factory working situation where, one person's ordering the cheapest things out there and someone else is putting it together. The same people who are ordering those high-end materials are making sure that they function in their high-end product. The Barnett tuners have the kind of industry standard 18-to-1 ratio, meaning that you got to turn this thing a whole 18 times before it makes a full rotation. This is where that smooth sailing comes in. I like to think about it as going from kind of that beater car that's 30 years old and on its last legs to going to a full luxury sports car. It is just a complete different experience, and one that you will really enjoy. Precision. How accurate are the tuners? What's the experience like turning them? Are you fighting with the tuner? Does it feel loose? Does it feel good? And like I mentioned earlier, is it radically jumping up or down in pitch, or is it just smooth sailing? Assembly. How are they being put together? When you see the packaging that comes with the Barnett tuners, you're going to know right away that the people putting these tuners together really, really care. The packaging is fantastic. The materials are fantastic. You have all sorts of guarantees from the company about the warranty and how to put the thing together and the quality that you should expect from their tuners. So what separates these Barnett tuners from other high-end brands out there? Well, for me, it comes down to how they've reimagined the tuning process. These things are smooth, right? And when you talk to the company or you talk to the people involved, what you're going to get a sense of is that they have completely re-engineered the tuners. What they've done is that they've actually worked from the bearings out, looking for opportunities to reduce friction, increase stability, and just create this really, really smooth tuning experience. In addition to the engineering, they also have some patents pending on various aspects of these tuners. So, if they've gone through the trouble of registering these patents and really investigating new innovative ways of getting the tuners to function, you're getting a high-end product. Materials, like I mentioned earlier, materials play such an important part in the development and in the construction, in the maintenance of these tuners. These are not cheap plastics being thrown together in somewhere by someone who doesn't care about the quality. This is just a high-end product from each individual material being put together through to the assembly and ultimately onto your guitar. So here's the most important thing. We can talk about the engineering, we can talk about the materials, but none of that really matters as a guitar player. As a guitar player, we don't really care that there are 37 individual components in these tuners. We might not care that there's patents pending on the construction and engineering process. What it really comes down to is, do these things tune well? Do they stay in tune? And are they just going to kind of randomly be destroyed in the middle of a concert, of a teaching session? So far, my experience with these tuners, and I'm going on months and months and months of having these installed, these work just as well today as they did on day one. One of the things with tuners is you'll hear people talk about, like, they're all great on day one. Most of them are great 1 week in and 1 month in. But as you approach 6 months and then a year, this is where the quality difference really appears. These tuners are working just as well 6 months later as they did on day one. I just remember on day one just going, wow, this is such a smooth experience. And like I mentioned earlier, I changed my strings a couple of days ago. It was the exact same feeling. There was no fighting with the tuner. The string went up in pitch. It held there. I didn't come back the next day and it's completely out of tune. I mean, new strings are always going to be a little bit out of tune, but the pitches were relatively close for having new strings on the guitar. These tuners have held up during performances, during teaching, during practice, going from here to there and everywhere in between. And it's just the same consistency. No matter what I'm using my guitar for, I can depend on these tuners. So for those reasons and much more, I would really encourage you to pick up some Barnett tuners. You're not going to be disappointed. These things are fantastic. Treat yourself, because when it comes to tuning, when we remove that kind of fear of wrestling with the tuner, it becomes such a pleasant experience. When I'm working with this guitar, I'm not worried about things popping up or strings just snapping out of nowhere, because I know that these Barnett tuners are fantastic. So I hope this helps. I'd do it. Just go for it. Buy these Barnett tuners, because you won't be disappointed. All right? So take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.